Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. And welcome to today's edition, Sunday's edition of the Doctor Who Daily and my preview of Doctor Who Flux, episode 4. And I'm not sure about the title of it, but I think it's Village of the Angels. If I'm wrong, you can correct me down below with no hassle whatsoever. I won't be offended. I don't get offended. If you say this geezer's got yellow teeth or a big nose and or a little lump there, you can, it's okay. It's easy. I love the way I look, and the women I make love to and give pleasure to, because other men can't give them pleasure, really like all this. So I'm very comfortable with everything that I am. So let's get going. This is the preview of Doctor Who Flux episode 4, Village of the Angels. Right, I've noticed a lot of people talking about the first 2 episodes throwing a lot at the audience. But you see, that's what an event series is. How can you tie in everything? How can you create something? How can you create a premise if the writer and showrunner doesn't do this? You've all been singing about, an event series should be the future of Doctor Who. I don't think it should be something we do every year. I think it should be a special occasion. And the difficulty that Chibnall's got here, and I could be wrong about this, he could drag the Timeless Child thing out in the other 3 episodes that are coming out next year. But if he's planning on tying the Timeless Children thing up together, he's not only, because basically this whole thing is connected to the Timeless Children scenario anyway. It's all connected. The Flux isn't something that's just here, a one-off. The Flux is connected to our Doctor, Jodie Whittaker's Doctor, and every person who's played the Doctor since William Hartnell. So this is part of his arc, and he's made it an event series. Now I heard someone saying, Village of the Angels. Yeah, I just want to focus on the angels, and I don't want him to focus on the arc. But that's the whole freaking point, isn't it? It's about the Timeless Child arc. It's about the Flux story. What's the point of doing an event story if you're just doing a standalone episode? So the angels, if you think about it, we've seen Cybermen, we've seen Daleks, but we've only seen them for short, sporadic times. But the angels are getting a lot of screen time. So I think the angels, the Weeping Angels, have got a big part to play in this whole Timeless Child arc. So that's interesting. And that's why they're in this episode. Now, unfortunately, there have been a lot of leaks for this episode because, was it The Independent actually leaked their review. Now, I believe Chris Chibnall and the BBC did this on purpose, because the headline that comes out is Fedea Graham is the best thing from this episode, and I think it's something that Chibnall and the BBC would like to do, kind of leak something like that out. So I don't think any leaks happen by accident. They happen because studios or television networks or broadcasters like the BBC want them to. But it has created a problem because I found out something, and I'm not going to tell you about, because it's a big twist within the story. Now, it's not about a big character or one of our companions, but it's someone we did see in the first episode. And I'm kind of obsessed with spoilers, and I always go to find them out. But when I find them out, I feel disappointed because I know it's not going to be a shock when I watch it. But anyway, it is what it is. So I think this episode's going to be interesting because I think it's partly standalone, but I also think this is a big part of the jigsaw. Don't forget, we're in episode 4 now. So he's going to have to move things along. But I don't think it's going to be a huge kind of a big part of the event series, but I think he's going to feed a few things in. Now, episode 5 should be a lot more about it, and it's to set up episode 6, because episode 6 potentially could reveal everything about the Timeless Child, the Doctor's past that she doesn't know about, the fugitive Doctor, everything. It could reveal it all. It could be a massive series finale, or it could pose more questions. Now, Jodie Whittaker, Mandip Gill did both say in the marketing before we saw the first episode, the Halloween Apocalypse of Doctor Who Flux, that we would get lots of answers which would pose more questions. Clearly, those questions may never be answered, or maybe they'll be answered in the final trilogy. That's interesting. Or maybe they'll pose questions for a new story for that final Chris Chibnall trilogy. I think maybe this is a series that's going to put to bed the Timeless Children. But it's very, very exciting what's going to happen. But back to Village of the Angels. I have never been a huge Weeping Angels fan. I think Moffat created something really haunting and amazing in Blink. I don't think it's as good of an episode as people say it is. I think it's overrated, but I think Moffat is a genius. I think the Silents are the best monster he ever created. And he kind of went obsessed with the Angels instead of the Silents, which I think is a shame, because I think the Silents are more interesting and creepy and haunting. Because actually, people talk about hiding behind your sofa in Doctor Who. I've never been afraid of anything in Doctor Who, but the Silents have always freaked me fucking out. And what happened on the Midnight episode with Russell T Davies, they're two kind of concepts. They're the only things that have ever freaked me out about Doctor Who, kind of had my hands up, covering up my eyes. Apart from that, I've never found Doctor Who creepy or scary. Not even as a kid. It takes a lot to scare me. I'm not doing the macho alpha male thing, although I am an alpha. Not ashamed of it, although you're supposed to be ashamed of it these days. But anyway, so this episode, I think, will tie into the Angels' kind of connection to the Doctor. Because I think that the Angels are connected to the Timeless Children thing. I really do. And I think it's going to be... They're definitely changing up the Angels. They're going to give the Angels a bigger connection to the Doctor, Gallifrey, or maybe where the Doctor originates from. It could be that the Angels originally were proper humanoids and something happened to them. We don't know what. They lived on a world, they lived on a planet. We don't know anything about them. So I really do believe that there's a connection with the Timeless Children and Jodie's Doctor with the Angels. We could have a really big reveal in this episode that hasn't been spoiled. There's only one thing been spoiled in this independent review. Personally, I think the BBC are out of order just to even, if they have allowed this to leak. But there you go, it's happened. There's nothing we can do about it. So I think this is going to be a pretty effective episode. As I say, the one thing about an event series that makes it more exciting than a regular series, or certainly a Chibnall regular series, is that you've got to continue the pace and the story. You can't slow it down. It has to be interesting. You have to ask questions, and eventually you have to answer these questions. And it's an awesome way. And I think it's the right way for the final series of the Chibnall era. I know we're getting those 3 episodes next year, but this is the final full series. And I think this is the best way. And I've said it, many others have said it, that, Chibnall should have gone event series from the very beginning. I don't think RTD should ever have gone event series or go event series, but I think for Chris Chibnall, it absolutely plays to his strengths, and it's been a marked improvement. But I did like Series 12, mainly for the art. But I thought Series 12, the pacing and the excitement was much more than Season 11 was, but I get he was trying to bring back the classic Doctor Who vibe from the very first series in 1963 with Series 11, and he did that. But unfortunately for a modern audience, the pacing's too slow and it becomes uninteresting and boring. That's how we went from 10-11 million in The Woman Who Fell to Earth, and then the ratings were going down and down, and that's the only reason. Don't listen to anything about it was because of Jodie or because she's a woman or anything like that. Although if they gave her a great characterisation from the first episode, although I think she was more the Doctor in The Woman Who Fell to Earth than she ever has been since. But I think if we started on a good footing, those 10 or 7 million would have stayed at least. Only a couple of million would have left. But people were bored already, and that's a problem. But I think this event series has been perfectly fine. I don't have an issue with it. I think, look, there's some elements of it I don't like. Obviously, I understand what commentary he's making with Fedea Graham's character. I understand why she's there, really. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, right? It's perfectly fine, right? It's great. You're representing a young, strong, powerful Asian young woman. And that's great. I don't have an issue with it. It's the transparent way people like Chibnall do it, but it's fine with me. But it's interesting. Who is she? She's obviously pregnant. She's obviously, what's his name? Vinder's, is it Vinder? It's not Rinda, it's Vinder. Rinder's the one out of that other sci-fi comedy show, isn't it? Is it Red Dwarf? Anyway, we're getting distracted here. And so I think they could be the Master's parents. That's interesting, isn't it? What if the Master actually kills kills his father, Vinder. Think about that. So this is going to be, look, we're going to get lots of answers. And I don't think he's going to give us any answers to episode 6, the series finale of Doctor Who Flux. I think we're not going to get anything till then. But I can't wait for the episode. I won't be able to watch it because I live in Cyprus, as I tell you every week, and I don't have the BBC. I don't have access to the BBC, so I will be watching it on Amazon Video, probably about 2 or 3 in the morning on Monday morning here in Cyprus, and then we will review the episode and talk about the episode together here on Movies TV Mad and the Doctor Who Daily, and I'm very, very excited and proud to do that with you. I'm still a very huge Doctor Who fan. I still think it's one of the best shows out there. The Chibnall era has been interesting, good for some, not so good for others. Not as exciting, I think, or even as funny as other seasons gone by, but it is what it is, and I'm still a fully invested Doctor Who fan. This has been the Doctor Who Daily. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Please hit the notification bell so you never miss this perfection, and I'll see you again tomorrow for the Doctor Who Daily and my review of Doctor Who Flux Episode 4, The Village of the Angels. Until then, goodbye.